Kershaw County has been invaded by central planners, young, woke, Chicago central planners. And there was a meeting on Tuesday where the central planners all got central planners and do-gooders together, 13 in fact, to plan our future, to begin the plans of the comprehensive plan. Also on Tuesday, we had a county council meeting where they talked about their central plan, and lo and behold, something else that Jeff talked about. Anyway, tonight on the Liberty Report, we'll cover all this and more. Roll the intro.
If a government claims a right, and then their claim is that they derive these rights from the people.
Right.
Well, how can people give a group rights that they don't themselves have?
To steal from each other.
Right, if we can't tax people, like I can't tax you, where exactly does government derive this right from? And once you come to, you realize that the goal ought to be as voluntary a society as possible. Now, how exactly you achieve that, how far you can push that is debatable, but certainly that should be the goal. That if government is providing a service for you, well then why does it need to be provided by force?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, to the Kershaw County Liberty Report. You might see my buddy Matt, our partner in crime, is a little busy and can't get off of work, and we can't get our schedule right, so you're stuck with me tonight. Anyway, our lead story is the Comprehensive Planning Act for Kershaw County. Now, as we know, for years in the past, we've had vision after vision after vision going along with the Comprehensive Planning Act that's required by the state. Well, this is the newest rendition of it. And a company out of Chicago sends a bunch of these kids down that, I'm telling you, if you look at this little video right here, you see us going in the entrance and all, and then you see the video with me showing you the little guys behind there. You see how these boys are? Now, I don't have anything against young people, but I do have something against young people graduating from woke universities where central planning has become a new degree, where social engineering and community development and economic development is all tied into one, and where they learn all these Marxist theories about collectivism. At this meeting, there was only about 13 people in there, besides who was in the audience, and I think there were about 5 of them, and then the whole crew from Chicago, which must have been 4 or 5 of them. And what was interesting about this is how did they lead you through a exercise of asking importance, what do you consider challenges, importance, and if you've gone to the questionnaire, it lends itself a lot into that. And if you haven't watched my previous video on the community development questionnaire, please go back and review that and see exactly how they are manufacturing the idea of consensus, the most important things to us. Out of 67,000 people, there were 13 people in here, and every one of them was looking for government to do something. Now we have a little clip here of Mr. Danny Cato, a councilman, newly elected councilman, and he talks about what Kershaw County has to offer.
Unique situation in Kershaw County. We have a strong history. We have a lake. We're also have an interstate, I-20. So I think that's three main things that you need to be successful. I think that we need to promote ourselves a little bit better and maybe get out there. But I think with the history, it comes tourism. People want to come see the battlefields and the different things that we offer. People want to visit the lake. Of course, the lake is full of houses. If anybody's been on this lake lately, there's plenty of opportunities, bass tournaments, crappie tournaments, all kinds of stuff takes place on the lake. And then again, I-20, which would be right here close to a major CSX railway and I-20. I think we have a lot to offer. If we could maybe update our sewer system and expand it a little bit, we could probably pull some major industry to help increase our revenue.
So Danny says we got the lake, we got I-20, we got the CSX, and as if this is new. Every vision that we've had in the last 20 years has said the same things, and nothing's changed. And then he says we need to add sewer and all so that we can attract these businesses in order to increase revenue. It's about the revenue. And then we got Fiona with the brain drain, how we need to create communities that the people live, work, recreate, eat. They do everything inside one little area, basically. Complete community. I'm sure that Miss Fiona, she's a bicycle fanatic and has been an advocate for complete streets, bicycle paths everywhere, and law enforcement to basically shoot anybody that passes a bicycle too close.
I think we have a lot of engaged and high-achieving citizens who want the best for our county. So as we kind of talk about the brain drain and people having to commute to Columbia, I truly believe there's a lot of people who don't want to do that. And as Mr. Templer mentioned, we're at a sort of a watershed moment where we can design a community where the people who don't want to commute in and out have that ability to keep their love and their genius and their opportunities here in the county.
So there's a brain drain, and we need these complete communities. We need, in every case, even this Yankee talks about why he and his wife moved down here, because of the people. Listen.
A person who's been in every state in the union probably 40, 50 times. Chicago, lived there 10 years. But this is very unique, this area. My wife and I could have retired anywhere we want. We chose here. And we have been thrilled being here. So the first thing I wrote down in answer to the primary stress, I said people. When people ask me all the time, what's it like there? And if they come here, they see we're so blessed. You're now, maybe somebody younger in schools or some may not. But the people here are phenomenal. For the most part, they're happy. There's less crime. Whether people believe us or not, the taxes here are ridiculously low. This is a wonderful, wonderful place to live in Kershaw County. And even though I have the option, I wouldn't go anywhere else in the world.
High quality of life.
High quality of life.
So what does he say? He says, your taxes here are ridiculously low. You think your taxes are ridiculously low? compared to some place that he used to live, which is Chicago for 10 years and other places. He bragged how he'd been in every state, all 50 states 4 or 5 times or some kind of thing, and he chose here. And now he wants to bring his damn Yankee ideas and his Yankee taxes down here and wants to force people. In another section, he said, what if some guy had a 1985 Oldsmobile that needed a transmission, and the guy beside him is trying to sell the house, but the guy's been waiting on a transmission for 30 years. You see, he wants to regulate his neighbor's private property. He would have them cut the grass a certain way. He wouldn't have any cars there. He wouldn't have any containers there. He wants to force his opinion on others. Just as everybody in there, in that group, advocated. They advocate for more regulation, more enforcement, for the greater good, more government. And all these people have good intentions, but they're using force from the government. And what's ironic about all this, everybody mentioned the roads, the traffic on the roads, and the building of subdivisions everywhere. Everybody said we need to do something about the growth. And everyone was pointing to the government to fix the problem that the government created itself. Where do you think all these people got permits for their little subdivisions? Where do you think that the sewer department gave them sewer, promised them sewer so they could build their houses closer and closer together? So the government created the problem, and now the people are saying, government, please come and fix it. And while they all pay homage to Kershaw County's unique rural country atmosphere, they in the same breath are proponents of more industry, more houses, more recreation, and more control over private property. We've seen this story over and over and over again. Every vision, they tell us they're going to fix this and that, and it's a new vision and all. And even Katie Gwynn says this time is different, I promise. This is how the cancer of collectivism, this is how the cancer of collectivism metastasizes and kills individual liberty. It's done by do-gooders coming in with great intentions and using the force of government to force everybody to their way of thinking. So through this Chicago group coming in and holding this visioning planning meeting, they're going to hold several visioning planning meetings over the course of the summer. And they're using a online questionnaire, of which I've already mentioned before, to drum up the idea of a consensus of people that agree to whatever new building codes, new restrictions, new recommended taxes, recommended recreation, a comprehensive plan leading us through, I guess, 2032, if it's 10 years, 23, who knows what it's going to be. And as Katie says here in her council briefing about the county council has the last say in it.
People in the past, citizens in the past, have not been heard, or they have not had their suggestions or input put into a plan. This is different, and you have my word that you will be listened to at these meetings.
So that was Katie Gwynn at the council meeting Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. And in our next segment, we get into that.
Offensive and inappropriate comments will not be tolerated. So what's offensive and inappropriate is going to be up to my ruling, and it's subject to what I think is inappropriate.
The truth is what I say it is.
Yep, according to Katie Gwynn, the truth is what I say it is. And just like Julie Burns, public comments are restricted to whatever Katie Gwynn, the chairwoman or the chairman, decides is proper decorum, is what Julie Burns said. So, Tuesday night's meeting, this here is the agenda. So you had an invocation, you had a pledge of allegiance, you had that's all the rituals that you have to go through, the adoption of the agenda, which they added a thing for Welcome, who is changing ownership, and then their fee in lieu agreement will not work with the new ownership, and so they have to do an ownership swap and fee in lieu and another deal where the people get screwed and the corporation gets easy taxes. And then we got proclamations. Month of the Military Child and Fair Housing Month. Both of these placed on the agenda by Chairwoman Katie Gwynn. Now she went in a different order, and she put the fair housing first. And let's listen to a little bit of the fair housing part.
And now, therefore, Kershaw County Council hereby proclaims that this month of April 2023 as Fair Housing Month and encourages all citizens to prevent discrimination and reverse housing segregation by increasing opportunities for minority home ownership and invest in affordable housing across the county.
So, fair housing. Everybody wants fair housing, but what does that mean? Non-discriminatory and no predatory lending, and I don't know. Everybody's supposed to support some fair housing. I'm not sure what that means. Is everybody going to get a mansion? Is everybody going to get a little box? What's fair? Life's not fair. But we got to proclaim fair housing. So then Katie moves on to Military Child Month. Now, if anybody that's a dependent of a man or a woman or a couple that is serving in the military, we come to be known as brats. I'm a brat. My dad was a 30-year Air Force chaplain. Spent a year in Vietnam. We moved 17 times in 20 years. We're called brats, and we're proud to be called brats. Nowhere in this does she mention brats, but she was trying to, and that's where all these purple balloons come from and all that. And as you can see, she brought up the whole crowd. What crowd? She must have coaxed some people in there, and she does this big parade about how military brats, military children suffer too. And this is one thing that gripes me, that everybody gets a month or a day, they, them days, brats, single moms, single dads, dogs, puppies, everything gets a special day. But in this in particular, Katie Gwynn's got to make sure that the children's, because her children's is brats, don't you know? And so she's got to put that forward. Then we get down to the public comments. Now, leading up to the public comments, Russell Brazel was not in place. And if you go to the YouTube feed, the YouTube channel, and watch the beginning of the video, you can hear this phone ringing, and then do. This, you must dial a 1 or a 0 or this before making this call. And then they call and call and call, and then you hear them, Russell, are you there? Russell, are you there? And there never was an answer. And as the meeting began and all, Russell Brazel comes parading in through the main entrance, the entrance that the public goes to, not the back entrance where they usually go in. And he's got a camouflage jacket on, and I mean a big smile, and comes right up behind me, taps me on the shoulder and says, "Hey Jeff, how you doing?" I'm "Hey Russell, good." And he goes to several other people, making it clear that he's shaking everybody's hands and smiling and all, and comes right on in. But what's interesting, after the last 2 meetings, Russell is eating crow. And the first lady up had something to say about it.
All right, the first person that signed up is Mary Brandenberger. Subject is history.
Tonight I want to go back a little bit. We've kind of beaten the baseball fields to death. But there's a little bit that I want to go over. When all of this came about, a lot of us had no idea this baseball issue was coming up. I believe it was back in November when Mr. Brazel's daughter made a presentation. Prior to that, I believe it was the meeting before that, there was a gentleman that spoke about how bad our baseball fields are. My husband and I used to walk Scott Park to Woodward Park and back every day, or not every day, but once a week or so. And I agree, the baseball fields at Woodward Park are in sad shape. No baseball mound or anything else. It was refreshing to see Mr. Brazel's daughter make her presentation, but when I came in, Mr. Brazel was sitting here with his daughter, and they were going over what she was going to be saying and everything. Everybody else was in council chambers, I guess, whatever you call it. And he and his wife were going over this with their daughter. None of us knew this baseball thing was coming up. I have to believe that she was intended as an introduction to this baseball project. Fast forward to all of the different things that have been said. The last meeting was a disgrace, where Mr. Brazel's brother got up, blocked Mr. Hutchinson.
Hey Mary, Mr. Brazel's family or his brother are not on council, so please just address this council and this meeting's issues.
Let's just say that connections to members of the council. That's a disgrace, things that have been going on. I wholly agree with at the last meeting, it was said that the children of the council members are off limits. I wholly agree with that. But when you put one of your children up as in front of the public to do a presentation, that kind of, you don't get to throw your kid in front of the bus and then expect the bus to stop. And, yes, let's keep the kids out of it, but from both sides, let's keep the kids out of it. That's all there is to it. Right is right, wrong is wrong, and 2 wrongs don't make a right. So all of this name calling that's going around town and everything needs to stop.
So as you can see, there's people out there that understand what Mr. Brazel's mistake was. He was bringing the kids and the family into the political debate, and then turns around and they're all saying that we need to leave the families out of it and all. Well, which way are you going to have it? rules for them and not for us, or rules for us and not for them. Make up your mind. When Russell Brazel brought his child in there to advocate for recreation, he placed them on the political block, not just him. So then the man of the hour comes up, Matthew Hutchinson, our buddy and our fellow comrade in Liberty, and addresses the council yet again about Russell Brazel and the way the council acts about it.
Right, the next speaker is Matthew Hutchinson. Hey, Matt.
Good evening. I want to start off. I like that slick Julian Burns move y'all pulled, made addendums to the agenda. That was nice to see. The planning and zoning questionnaire that was sent out to everybody county-wide. I hope everybody in the county listening will go and take part in this questionnaire, but it was quite biased. You could tell. It's definitely rigged, and I hope a lot of people show up to these meetings. I want to finish by speaking about the events of the last meeting. I've had members of the council say they're going to kill me for speaking about people's criminal history. Somebody said they're going to beat me up after hearing lies spread about me. Someone on the council called and asked me to remove Facebook posts. Some respond with LOL like a teenager when faced with criticism. You can sit on your make-believe throne and speak hypocritically about being nice or doing the right thing. It means nothing. Or you can have family and friends attempt to intimidate me in this room, harass me in the parking lot, call the sheriffs, have the extra deputies show up. You'll never scare me. I'm not going to be intimidated by any of you, and I'm not going to stop exposing what y'all are doing. Thank you.
Matthew said he's not going to be intimidated by him. I've seen the harassment. I've witnessed it myself in the parking lot. People harassing him just for speaking out and just for speaking the truth, and then get turned around into all kinds of lies and everything to cover up the truth. It's pitiful the way that the county council has acted over this whole shenanigan and want to cover it up and want to put it out and not talk about it, not discuss it. It's standard operating procedure. And then I come up and I'm talking about central planning because I had just been to that meeting. I had just covered everything. And so I'll let me speak for me.
Hello, everybody. Oh, great. And this mic really works pretty good, doesn't it? I went to the little planning meeting today, too. And the first thing I noticed was that Russell, Sammy, Katie, Jimmy, and Brant weren't there. I know Derek and Danny were there. That was the first thing I noticed. There was a lot of empty seats. I think there was either 10 or 13, Derek. I don't exactly know, something like that there today. And I, too, like Tom, noticed that these are out-of-towners coming in to plan our future. Awful young out-of-towners, I might say. That graduated from these woke universities of central planning and engineering and those kind of things. They're going to plan our utopian future with your little bit of input, of course. And then when you go and you look at the questionnaire that they have online and all, and you look at questionnaires from other places they've done it, and it's basically the same thing. And it leads you to the same conclusions over and over and over again. Yeah, their designs are a little different in every place, but they're actually the same. And this goes back to this Comprehensive Planning Act that I've brought up many times. George H.W. Bush went to Rio and signed on to the Agenda 21 plan long ago. And shortly after that, in 1994, they passed the Comprehensive Planning Act. And that began to direct, through Bill Clinton and administrations afterwards, that began to direct the manna from heaven, the strings that are attached from that manna in certain directions. You see it in economic development, you see it in roadways, you see it in all kinds of little things. Y'all know how government works with their strings and all that. And so the states passed their own Comprehensive Planning Act, requiring us and municipalities and all to plan our future. And we're all planning our futures, and so here come these little industries up to fill that need that was made by the government to begin with. And if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals and everything, you start to notice something clear, that they're starting to restrict more and more where human activity is, and starting to restrict where you can go, and land being gobbled up for greenways and bike paths and all these kind of things. And ultimately it leads to the 15-minute city and social credits and not being able to go to places that you once did. So when we're looking at these central planning operations that we're bringing in from out of town and all, you must think in the bigger picture. Because now you're looking at World Economic Forum, the Council of Foreign Relations, and all these influential groups that may not be, shall we say, have the best interest of us, but them, that are directing these lines of manna from heaven. And we know what they do. They borrow money out of thin air, and then we pay it in inflation tax. So they're hanging us with the inflation and building bunny hutches for us all. And I was a brat, Katie. And I asked Dad long ago, what did you pray when you were on the flight line and you were sending these little kids to war in their F-4s? Did you pray that the mission was accomplished and they killed all those brown people and made it back alive? Thank you, God.
As I said, my father was a 30-year Air Force chaplain and did a year in Vietnam. Actually at Fan Ring Air Force Base, where fighter jets and all were flying bombing missions and strafing missions to kill Viet Cong. And I asked my father, who would be in there in the briefings before the missions, how did you pray for these people? Did you pray that their missions were accomplished and that their bombs hit their targets and killed a lot of brown people, and that God protect them from all the anti-aircraft guns and all that so that they could come home safe? Is that what you prayed? In other words, do we pray that our people are safe but not the people that we hate, that we're at war with, that the government has lied us into wars with? Is that what we put up with? Now, I, as a kid, saw many of my friends lose their fathers to anti-aircraft over in Vietnam. Shot down, missing in action, killed in action, those kind of things like that, all based upon a lie of Johnson and the Tonkin incident on the USS Maddox. all lies. Every war has been a lie. And yet, Katie Gwynn does not even acknowledge that. On the other hand, everything that I said about this central planning and comprehensive planning and where it came from and all that goes right over the top of their head as they look to government and look to themselves as these leaders who are going to plan everything. And so, as the meeting went on and all, they do their usual babbling bullshit, and then it comes down to council briefings. And council briefings is an interesting time because a lot of times things that are said in the public comment are addressed by council members at the end. And in this case, this is what happened. So we have Derek Shoemake, the newest person on county council in the special election and all that. Let's listen to what he has to say about our comprehensive planning.
Going to the zoning thing with Councilman Cato today, you know, hearing a lot of issues that we heard in the town hall and in that about the sort of rapid pace of residential growth, particularly in West Wateree. And that's something that I know I'm very interested in tackling beginning now, but particularly when the budget season is over. Some of it's more long range, but there's some things we can do now, I think. And so I'll obviously be talking to my fellow council members about that. But that zoning was really helpful. One of the issues that came up in the zoning that I had not really thought about, but Ms. Fiona Martin brought up, is that one of the issues that we have sometimes in this county is letting people know what's going on, because we're in the media market we're in is the Columbia market. So the TV stations and the news on TV is publishing most of what happens in Columbia. So we're very reliant here on local publications. So I wanted to give just a brief shout out to Kate Goff and Martin Kahn, who represent our two local papers really here in the county, that our ability to get word out is really limited to social media and those two publications. Occasionally, if something happens, and usually it's something that, you know, is bad, we don't really get on the local news. So I wanted to thank them for being here, because without you guys, it makes it very difficult for us to get our word out. So that was something that was said there, and we'll continue to work on that, but I appreciate that.
So the big boys don't report on anything good over here. They don't report that they're having meetings and all. They have to rely on the Camden Comical and the Elgin News, both of which are dying dinosaurs. The Elgin News is a fluff newspaper. People look at the pretty pictures and they might read something here and there, and then they throw the thing in the trash or use it to start a fire with. The same is true with the Camden Comical. There are some old people that flip through that thing and read it and go ahead and use it for a cat litter box or a dog poop station or something productive other than the 75 cents they just wasted on the paper. And Facebook, they use Facebook to put out notifications and all, but in general, it doesn't matter whether they do, don't, or not. People don't give a shit what these people are doing. And because of that, it's easy for them to create the illusion that they have a majority of support. These people that come to these comprehensive plannings, the people that are on Planning and Zoning Commission or Recreation Commission or any of these commissions, are all of their own interest in those particular topics and are active. Like the Fiona and her bicycle riding and wanting 15-minute cities and complete streets and bike paths and all kinds of greenery and all. Or the man from up north that says we got ridiculously low taxes and everybody needs to mow the grass and keep it a particular way. And like Danny Cato, who wants to expand the sewer department and get big industry fee and lose, so they bring good paying jobs and revenue, so that then they can build on their socialist utopian ideas of travel parks and beautiful baseball fields and all that. They all tend to be this way. So after Mr. Schumack, we get Sammy Tucker. We got a couple of other ones that don't say a whole lot and all, but Sammy Tucker and his briefing in particular addresses some of the issues that I was addressing. Like, how come he wasn't at the meeting? Listen to what he's got to say.
I'm having to work tomorrow as well and Thursday, so if it's no objection from any of you up here, would like to schedule those meetings to maybe Monday. And I think mornings work better than afternoon because they got something else in the afternoon.
So, as you can tell, Sammy, he's got a job, y'all. And it's important because he's got a job. And I can't be bothered with the county finances and all while I've got a job. We got to work around my job because I got a job. And he goes on to address why he wasn't at the meeting today.
And then I want to say I've got some concerns. We had a public meeting for the Black River Road corridor the latter part of last month. I believe it was like the 28th. Not sure on the turnout because once again I wasn't available. So as Mr. Jeff likes to graciously point out, I'm not of retirement age, and I look at that mailman go to my box every day, but he don't leave me a check. So I got to go to work, and that's where I was at today. I would love to have been to the planning and zoning, but I have a boss that I have to report to that does pay my bills, so that kind of trumps things sometime.
So he goes to the mailbox and he didn't get no check. Well, look here, Sammy. Yes, you do. I believe it's $16,000 a year and a little bit of health care and that kind of thing for you to represent us, so to speak, and that you sacrifice to be a public servant. In other words, something is more important than your damn job, and you are getting paid to do it. It might not be enough that you think you're worth more than that, but you're getting paid to do it, and you're shucking your responsibility because you got to go teach somebody how to drive a car. That ain't supposed to work. That's like Russell. Russell should have been there. Sammy should have been there. Katie Gwynn should have been there. Jimmy Jones should have been there. Brad Tomlinson should have been there. Danny Cato and Derek Shoemaker were the only ones there. This comprehensive plan where they're going to plan our entire future, and you didn't think it was important enough for you to be there because you're not getting enough in the mailbox. I call bullshit, Sammy Tucker. So then we came up to Mr. Brazel. Now, Mr. Brazel's had a hard time of it of the last, couple of weeks and months and all because of his earbud thing, lying about the earbuds and using them as hearing aids and all, and then having everybody upset and telling everybody lies and all that. So now Russell's stepping in trying to mitigate some of the damage he's already done. Listen to a little bit of Russell's briefing. He had just had a funeral, and how it reminded him and upset him and made him think.
It was a real healthy reminder for me as to how precious life is and how precious relationships are and how precious grace and forgiveness is. We've all made mistakes. We've all done and said things that we regret. And I want everybody to know that Jesus Christ forgave us so that we can forgive others. And I want to express that forgiveness in my heart to everybody everybody that can hear me. And we need more Jesus Christ, and we need less Republicans and Democrats in this world.
Amen, Russell. We need less Republicans and Democrats in this world, more Jesus. And what did Jesus say? Do unto others as you would have done unto you. I don't want to be stole from, but you're voting to steal from me to create what kind of utopian visions that you guys have. Theft is wrong. It doesn't matter what good you're going to do with the theft. Jesus Christ never ran for office. Jesus Christ was killed by the state that you are now participating in. Yeah, it was Rome back then, and it's America now, but it's the same system. So as per usual, the chairwoman, Katie Gwynn, will be the last one to give councilman's brief, council person, council they, them, they, XYZ, give the briefing last, whoever's in charge, shall we say. And so during her briefing, she addresses the comprehensive plan.
I want to address the comprehensive plan. Mr. Templer, the company that does the comp plan, when it's finished and they give it to council, we don't have to approve it, correct?
Well, so yes and no. We
Okay.
are mandated to have a comp plan by state law. So, but they're, what they're doing is giving us kind of the shaping mechanism of
Okay.
what that's going to look like. So certain things we're going to have, other things will be optional.
What she's trying to say is, this plan really doesn't mean anything because we have to approve it at the end. But what they're doing is they're paying, I think it's $65,000 to this group of woke youngins out of woke universities and woke Chicago to come in and help us plan. As Mr. Templer, that's the county administrator, is explaining to her, some of it we gotta have and some of it we don't have to have because the people up above us have mandated that we comprehensive plan stuff. Instead of just saying, look, we plan on laissez-faire. We plan on using the free market. We plan on that. We plan on the people more freedom. No, they want a comprehensive plan, everything. They want to plan every little thing down to the minute details of your lives, your private property. And what Katie Gwynn is trying to do here is obfuscate, to muddy the waters, if you will, so that nobody points fingers at them at the end.
So they'll guide us through the process, but this council up here will have the final say on the approval of that comp plan. And I want the public to know that. I just want to drive home that they are from out of town, and I don't know their age, but they are assisting us. And I'm thankful that they're assisting us. I have never written a comp plan, so I do value their input. But us sitting in these seats representing you have the final say, and we can take stuff out or put stuff in as needed. You just have to let us know what you want in it and what you want your county to look like and where you want your county to go. So don't lose sight of that. Don't get wrapped up in who shows up to take these questionnaires or who's asking the questions.
You see? They'll guide us through it, but we'll have the final say. Now, what does that mean? That means that they'll go, yeah, that's a really nice plan, and we've got to do it because the state mandates it, don't you see? But she goes on. Go ahead, Katie, explain to us.
People in the past, citizens in the past, have not been heard, or they have not had their suggestions or input put into a plan. This is different, and you have my word that you will be listened to at these meetings.
So all you guys got to do is tell her what you want, and they'll just plug it in. And what these people say is just a guide, kinda, and we'll change it whatever we want and all. So you're wasting $65,000. What the hell? What the hell are you saying? You want it both ways? You want you eat cake and eat it too?
So don't lose sight of that. Don't get wrapped up in who shows up to take these questionnaires or who's asking the questions.
Don't get hung up on who shows up and who's asking the questions. Do what? That tells you everything you need to know. Who's showing up is the socialist, and who's asking the question is the Marxists and the central planners who've gone to school to plan everything. What are you trying to say? Don't get hung up on those people. Those people. So after Katie gets done, the last person to give a, well, not the last, but the county administrator usually gives a briefing, and then the legal gives a briefing. The legal didn't have a briefing on Tuesday night, but Mr. Templer, the county administrator, had something he needed to say.
Just one thing on the comp plan is the LDR rewrite. I don't know why this rhetoric is coming out about somebody from out of town to do this, but if you want to participate. Anyway. We have a QR code out here, so be involved in your community. If you want to shape what this community looks like, Kershaw County is not that developed when it comes to other counties. It's a blank slate. We get to choose what we do in this county, so if you want to have participation in this, if you want your voice to be heard, get on our website, look at this QR code. We're going to have it pushed out everywhere we can. And these people are here to help us. They offer a product. They're not telling us what our community is going to look like. They're helping facilitate what we want our community to look like. So that rhetoric is not productive. It's disappointing for me to hear that. So there will be community engagements throughout the summer. So I encourage all citizens to, and business owners, there are going to be some community visioning, business workshops. So this, to me, is going to be a very comprehensive process that is going to allow us to shape what we want in our community, what we do not want in our community. So, but it's going to take people participating. Without participation, this will just, it will go on, and we will have what I think will be yet another old comp plan ZLDR without citizen input. Just being on my soapbox, but it is what it is. So get out there and participate and shape your community.
So Mr. Templer was a little upset that somebody was talking about they're from out of town and this rhetoric is terrible for everybody because y'all need to participate. Now, Katie just said don't get hung up on who's asking the questions and who's participating. And Danny said, oh, we need everybody to participate because we get to choose. We get to choose. I don't believe that. We don't get to choose. Danny, they get to choose. Between your little Chicago boys and your little county council boys, that's who gets to choose. The people just get a minute little say in the thing with their rigged questionnaires and their Delphi technique of moderation in your little planning visions. And over the summer, you will witness that too. Anybody that goes to one of these meetings will witness exactly what it is. Go back and look at your questionnaire if you have any questions about it. So then Danny comes back and tells us exactly what the Chicago boys are doing on Wednesday.
Tomorrow they're engaging with staff, department heads, so it's pretty comprehensive. So, and they're, again, throughout the summer, There will be some visioning, and then, of course, on our website, and that will be up to us to get that out to make sure that people have access to this. They can't participate if there's no access, so that's on us. So this scatter box, or this QR code rather, will take you to several different items on this website to allow you to really give input beyond what you want your community to look like, but what do you think the community is suffering from right now, and what do you think can remedy some of those things? So again, very comprehensive.
So then we have Russell Brazel breaking in to make his comment.
Thank you.
Mr. Templar, I appreciate what you're doing with this. And I appreciate you stating the fact that we are the representatives to shape the future of Kershaw County. That's exactly what we're here to do, and that's exactly what we intend to do. Thank you, sir.
So what we have here is Russell saying, we, the county council, are the representatives of the people, and we're going to plan your future. That's up to us, not you guys, up to us. We're here to plan the future. So overall, your county council is now already committed to this comprehensive plan that was called for from the state, from the federal government, of central planning and more and more and more control over private property. It is this collectivist idea of it takes a village, and making theft moral because you want to do good with it. And so there it is, folks. Whenever there's massive collectivism, individual liberty dies. And that's what we're here to try to prevent. This is the Kershaw County Liberty Report. Matt will be back next week. Appreciate you guys. On the way out, hit the like, hit the subscribe, leave some comments, agree or disagree. Let's debate. Jeff Maddox for the Kershaw County Liberty Report. Till next time, peace.
If a government claims a right, and then their claim is that they derive these rights from the people.
Right.
Well, how can people give a group rights that they don't themselves have?
To steal from each other.
Right, if we can't tax people, like I can't tax you, where exactly does government derive this right from? And once you come to, you realize that the goal ought to be as voluntary a society as possible. Now, how exactly you achieve that, how far you can push that is debatable, but certainly that should be the goal. That if government is providing a service for you, well then why does it need to be provided by force?